that was so good. Because the thing that was so good about that is like you explained body, in body joy at work. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't about intellectual challenge, although that is part of your whole anti-boredom thing, isn't it? But it's in body. You feel it. You feel it and you know it. Hi, I'm Lucia Knight, and this is the Joy at Work podcast. Today, I'm joined by one of my former clients, someone who, like so many of us, had a moment of, wait, is this what work is supposed to feel like? And instead of brushing it off and cracking on, they paused and they chose to design their work life differently. I've asked each guest to share the 3 most important insights they learned about their future work life that they never, ever want to forget. And these aren't just light reflections. They're the result of 3, 6, or 12 months of deep work together. And now they're in a position to capture those timeless notes to their future selves. For some, saying yes to my invitation took a little bravery and a lot of what I call powerful vulnerability. Some had to dig deep because they really value their privacy. Some said yes because they understood the potential power of having a touch point to return to every year. But mostly, they said yes as an act of kindness gifted to me and to you. Let's dive in. Scott, what is the first career design insight that you never want to forget in the future?
Don't ignore my personal boredom for long. This was a real huge insight that you gave me going through all of our time together. It's such a key point for me because boredom begets stress, and then stress begets anxiety. And it's not a place that I operate in my highest and best use. It was a really like lightning strike for me to discover that. You kind of know yourself, you think, but then I didn't, right? But having that insight it helped quite a bit. Now I feel like I have clarity and confidence in moving into my next role.
Brilliant. So what does understanding that boredom is super stressful and can even lead to anxiety, what difference does that make about how you're going to do your work in your future?
Boy, I should really pay attention to it, first of all, not ignore it like I have in the past. I think that's the first thing, is just having that ability to identify it first. And I think it's just stepping back and assessing, why am I in this position, right? Rather than letting it continue on and fester. Like, why am I here, right? What am I going to do about it? Personally, I would reach out to you and have a conversation. Let's try to examine where I am again. Yeah. Because I think having gone through this process with you, I think you understand where I'm at and how I tick. And just in having somebody who gets that about me, and then we can have a conversation and say, okay, why am I in this space? What should I be doing about it? Is it temporary, or have I fallen into the same trap that I have in the past? I think that's the important thing for me personally, is just to hit it head on, not to let it linger.
Perfect. Lovely. Right. And it's my hope that we don't have to speak again in the future, other than just because we want to, but because you'll notice that little insight so early that you'll then be able to do some nimble movement. Brilliant. That's so interesting. Yeah. And okay, what's the second insight from our work together, or from any other work that you've done, because you've done loads of personal work? What's your second career design insight that you never want to forget?
I understanding my personal superheroes and kryptonite, that was key to me. And then not ignoring those as well. And then don't hide the real version of me, which I don't do much anyway. Yeah. But I think a lot of people, if you're checking out, that's hiding yourself. But if you're constantly encountering your kryptonite, then you're going to be leaning into the self that you don't like, right? I guess that I would say just make sure that I'm leaning into my real self, not my kryptonite side of myself, right?
Lovely. Because your kryptonite side, you have to protect yourself, don't you? Or you have to pretend to be engaged, or you have to, whatever your unique kryptonite is, you have to be less yourself to be able to deal with it.
Yes.
Don't you? Okay.
Yeah. And that's never a fun place to be, right?
It's quite exhausting, isn't it?
Yeah. But what was satisfying about the process, whether he was learning what those items are, right? What are the things that set me off? So I just feel like I have the tools now to identify when I'm in those spots or when I'm dealing with it, right? And so in the moment, you can say, oh, this is my kryptonite. How am I going to deal with this? As opposed to just spiraling down into anxiety.
Lovely. Right? Lovely. And because you've thought about it in advance or years ago, you'll be able to recognize it, hopefully, really quickly.
Yeah.
And you've got some language around it. And you've got some thinking that you've already done. And you've already created some tools to be able to deal with it. Fabulous. Fabulous. Yeah. Okay, what's the final thing? I'm so curious. What's the final thing that Scott needs to remember and never, ever wants to forget in his career work life?
I just think have fun, right? If I'm leaning into that number one value for me is having fun, right? I think if I'm leaning into that and leaning into my superpowers and just totally embracing those and finding situations where I can thrive and where things aren't going to be perfect all the time. But I think just understanding who I am better now today than I did a year ago. And it was through that superpower and kryptonite work, right? Finding what really lights me up and what really drags me down, but just running towards the superpowers and embracing the superpowers and then having the tools to thwart the kryptonite, right? Like those are big things for me. Yeah. And it's pretty simple. It like a year ago, it was really complicated to me, but now that I understand it, it's pretty simple. But the hard part is making sure that I don't get complacent and I don't just make the same mistakes over and over again that I have throughout my career, right?
Yeah, so the autopilot is off now. And I guess we're hoping it stays off so that you notice these little things. Yeah?
Yeah.
But life gets busy.
It does. It does. I think people can be hard on themselves because life does get busy. You have to make decisions because of certain reasons, X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. But I think at my point in my career, I think it's time to stop making decisions because I think I have to. Yeah. And I think to really come back around is stop making decisions because I feel like I have to do this.
Brilliant.
Start making decisions based off of this is the work we did to understand this is what I need to thrive. Yeah. Find those opportunities.
Love it. And so we're hoping that in 2 or 3 or 4 years' time, you'll come back and listen to this. So my very final question, which I didn't give you any preparation for, but I know you will thrive on, is how will future Scott, when he's listening to this, recognize when he's feeling joy at work? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like to Scott?
Yeah. I remember working on this with you, like, and trying to think of those moments. And it's just a feeling of, I literally feel like the energy coursing through me, right? Well, I feel like that excitement of I'm doing something that means something to me. And like, even now just talking about it, like, I just feel it, right? Like you feel good. Like it's a sensation of happiness, of warmth, of excitement. And those are the moments where I know it's good. Like people can easily understand it. Like when you're hanging out with your friends and, you're having a good time, you get that same kind of feeling. Yeah. And it's the same thing like when you're doing something for somebody. And I think a lot of it for me is, am I helping somebody? Am I making things better for them? And those are the moments where I feel that. And it just feels good, right? And so that's how future me will understand it.
Scott and I work together one-to-one. In addition to him going through the 6-week at-home career design training program called the Fierce Emporium. Check out the episode notes to get links and details of all of the 3 programs I offer so that you can choose the right one to fit your appetite for change, your desire for speed of change, and budget, so that you can find the joy at work that you deserve.